Hi, hello, and welcome to She the People. For this Women's Writers Fest, we have with us Sarwat Gilani, who's a well-known actor from Pakistan, who is currently going to be part of the Yar Julaha series. And Sarwat has done a lot of work. So we're going to be exploring how the face of screenwriting is changing, how women are getting more important roles, and what motivates Sarwat to take up on different works, and a little bit, and definitely a lot about being a working mom. So Sarwat, welcome to She the People.
Thank you, Deepshikha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we'll start by talking. Let's tell us a bit about this narration that you are going to do for Yar Julaha, the Sunset Boulevard, and the other story that you're going to be reading.
Yes. It was a very exciting phone call when Sarmad Khusat called me and he said he's doing Yar Jalahe, which is also a poem from Gulzaar Sahab's, poetry, and the title comes from there. And the story, I mean, with all the names that he took, were exceptional. These are like decades of masters that we've seen their work in so many, even here in Bengali or Hindi or Urdu language. So I was really excited when he told me that I was doing Gulzar Sahab's, I'm going to be narrating his story. I'm a big fan of Gulzar Sahab itself. And I was it was a lot of responsibility on me, I felt, because Gulzar Sahab is somebody who's he's gotten so many awards, Grammy awards and Academy awards, and 6 decades of work we see. So a lot of pressure to do the master's work and be part of it was very exciting. I'm doing two stories. I'm narrating two stories. One is called Das Paise and one is called Sunset Boulevard. So Sunset Boulevard revolves around a woman who basically has been a Bollywood film actress, and she's still living in that glory, and she still sort of doesn't want to let go of that. And Das Paise is about Chakku, who steals 10 paise from Dadi ki tijori, and he goes away, and all the situations that happen after he steals that money. What I like about Gulzar Saab's work is it's a mix of both. I think he does literary fiction and popular fiction. So it talks about evoking ideas, and it talks about those emotions that one feels in relationships in their lives. So for me to prepare for both, and it's a huge contrast. Those two characters were very contrasting. One is almost a 60-year-old has-been Bollywood film star, and the other one is a 14-year-old boy. So it was very exciting to know that I will be switching, into two personalities. I think for an artist, artist का पेट तभी भरता है जब उसको challenging चीजें मिलती हैं. So I was very excited, and I did a lot of homework, a lot of research, and I studied a lot of characters differently for stage, for Yar Julahe particularly. So I hope when everybody sees it, they see all my hard work, and they see that I've sort of justified that research, inshallah.
So what is it about theater that interests you the most?
Oh my God! So theater is, it's the energy, the adrenaline, the reactions that I get from the audience right away. I don't have to wait for it to go on air and read reviews. I can read their faces and know if I'm doing good or bad. So for an artist to get a sudden and a very quick response it's very encouraging. And I just love the fact that there's no editing, and there's no big frame or short frame or focus frame. It's all one. So from your hair to your toe, everything, every part of you is acting. And I think I love being, I love playing characters. So for me, it's very challenging that I don't have a retake. If I fumble, I'll have to cover it up in a certain way. That's very fun. That's a lot of fun for me.
Great. That sounds really exciting. So I would like to discuss a little bit about, in your journey. You started off in 2005, and over the period of your journey, do you think now suddenly there's more progressive writing? There is opportunity for more women-driven roles. How do you study your journey through portrayal of different women characters that you've played?
So, Deepshika, I feel that in the beginning of my career, I found myself reading a lot of characters which were uh, very dependent on the male of the family. Going to a job, asking permission for a job, finding out a guy who's going to be good for me, who's going to take my life ahead. And so there was a lot of dependency on my female character, dependency of my female character on the supporting male characters in the programs, in the drama serials. But now I see that a lot of these characters are not dependent on their male,
The partners
sort of
or
relationships or partners that they are showcasing in the play. And I feel that is a huge step. That's a very huge step to take in a society like ours, where I think 26 episodes revolve around the fact that will the girl marry the guy or not. So I felt that we've sort of taken a step ahead from that.
right.
And obviously, our films are still very male centric, and films will take a long time to sort of change. And because I feel a lot of times the male members of our society take the families to the cinema. So for them to take the families to the cinema, they have to look like the hero or feel like the hero or relate to the hero. So I think that's another reason why a lot of our films are male centric, because we don't have the cinema culture of just females going and watching cinema right now. So yes, it is changing. It's a very gradual change, but it is happening. We see women who are more stronger in their characters, who are more what would you say? Sorry, more no, not experienced, exploratory. They're exploring in different. It's not just about shadi hogi nahi hogi. It's about if she'll find a job. It's about what are her struggles in the job workplace. And so we're trying to address real issues now. It's less sugar coated and it's less fantasy based, I think. But that's also a segment of the drama society. We still have the 80% of shadi hogi and all those things around revolving. The play revolves around those typical things. But I think 30% is progressive. And I think that's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, so in case in point would be your show Chudel, where it has like 4 leading characters who are
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about.
Yeah, I think Chudels was a big breakthrough for our entertainment industry, because we had never talked about what only women go through and what are their issues and what sort of reactions do they get from the patriarchal, misogynistic society around them. So I think Chudels was definitely a big bomb that exploded from Pakistan. And it talked about practical issues that women go through, and they're not sugar coated, they're not shiny image. We were actually focused on telling about the cracks that we find in our society.
Yeah, but some of some of the TV shows that have come from Pakistan have been very popular in India. I mean, the top of my mind is Zindagi Gulzaar, and there was there was a lot of noise with Dhoop Ki Diwar releasing recently.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you, One, about, in these shows we see that people who are doing small screen roles are also doing, many of them are also doing big screen roles. So I would like to talk a little bit about this big screen small screen divide that is not there as per a viewer from my side, whereas it is very strong in Bollywood here.
Yeah, I mean, so I think we as a film industry need a lot of time to progress and to get where a certain industry gets stability. We start we start generating revenues from that industry. There's a long time to get there. But I feel also because India has a lot of these acting schools and universities where you're taught how to direct a film, you're taught how to do the cinematography of the film, writers for film writers, Pakistan doesn't have that. So we are still struggling to create that film industry image by using our local television craftsmen, whether that's actors, writers, or directors. So, although we don't feel also that there's a difference, and it's okay for us to watch Sanam Saeed on a small screen and then watch her also on a big screen. There's no difference in that. But obviously, we'd like to create an industry where we train actors for film particularly. We train writers to write screenplays for film particularly. But Pakistan is not there yet. And I feel the only way we can get there is by creating institutions, particularly for film.
Right. So, tell us a little bit about being a working mom. Like, that's the most challenging thing for any woman. And like, I can't let you go without discussing how you balance the home and the world, the proverbial work-life balance. Is
You
it there?
know,
Is it elusive?
it is Deepshikha. I should also tell you, yesterday, 2 days ago, there was an award show here in Pakistan, and I got the favorite parent award here. So even if that is a category, but I feel one has to be super organized, and I'm a little OCD like that. So I have a whole week's menu. I have to wake up, whether it's a holiday or not a holiday, or a summer break or a spring break, winter break. I have to do homework with my kids every day. Um, I feel it's very important. The first 8 years of a child is so extremely important in developing their personality. That अगर मैं ये टाइम उनको दे दूंगी तो फिर सारी उम्र मुझे नहीं भागना पड़ेगा उनके पीछे. So right now is the time that I'm acting less on our television screen, primarily for the fact that I know this is an important phase for my kids and I can't be missing out on it. But at the same time, I feel you can balance it if you're organized, if you're smart, how to delegate things. And obviously, one can't do it alone. You need help. So I feel that if I didn't have the support of my parents-in-law or my mother, who comes every time I'm out for a shoot, or my husband, who does their homework when I'm not around, I think this would have been really impossible for me. So obviously, a great support system is one that it's like the rock that I stand on. But at the same time, I think as a person, as a mother, one has to prioritize. I think all my kitty parties and my lunches and dinners have sort of disappeared out of the window, and everything happens after they go to sleep. So, I think it's all about priority. I think, like right now, I'm working on two projects. So I start my rehearsals after 10 p.m. after my kids have gone to sleep. And I do my research at night. So अब मैं रात की रानी बन गई हूँ because दिन में तो बच्चे होते हैं. So I think it changes how time changes and how you prioritize with your time.
Tell us a little bit about your reading. I mean, which authors do you like? What do we find you doing if you're not preparing for a role?
So I like right now during COVID, I got into a lot of self-awareness reading for self. And so I basically got into a lot of meditation and reading about meditation, reading about self-awareness, reading about living in the moment. So those kind of things. Before that, I was a fictional reader. I loved reading about, so there's an author, Daniel, who writes about house staff. And I can share a few names with you. So it's a story about other rooms, and it's called Other Rooms and Other Wonders, and it's primarily about the layers of, so the house people and then the help. So one would never know about what goes around in their lives, because they're there but they have their own lives. But reading about people, about ideas, about fiction. It's a bit of everything. I like literary fiction and I also like popular fiction. So I like getting ideas, and I also like tapping into my emotions and finding out, a new emotion.
Right. So another thing, like you have a long, a long professional career and successful professional career. But do you think after a certain age, women only get one kind of roles? They are kind of stereotyped to be playing the mother or
या
so.
दीपिका,
Yes, sir.
आई थिंक कि 30 के बाद तो हमारी औरतें ऊपर चली जाती हैं ना, कोई और प्लेनेट पे चली जाती है, तो 30 के बाद उनकी कोई स्टोरी नहीं होती. 30 के बाद उनकी जिंदगी के कोई मसले नहीं है. They don't have any issues. So yes, I think very seldom you see a 40-year-old heroine, or a 50-year-old woman. The story is about her. So yes, I feel globally we need to start talking about women who are above 30 and their issues, which are actually the more realistic issues. And everybody around the world faces those issues on a daily basis. So yes, I feel that very seldom I've seen women, gracefully aging and getting those roles of heroines, even in their 40s. Very, very seldom. But yeah, I think it's also very important to talk about not just young women, but also talk about women who are a little more aged, and we don't see stories about that. We don't see a story about what happened to a woman after she got divorced. While at the same time, I feel all our previous icons, writers, they talked about everything. They talked, their stories were around a subject, and age did not really matter around those subjects. So like Gulzaar Sahab's, like I'll give you an example. A short story by Gulzaar Sahab is Hisab Kitab. And the story revolves around this this old man and his wife and his son, who's played by Irfan Khan, and Om Puri is playing the father. And so it's so simple, but yet the underlying meaning of that story is so powerful. So I feel that we need to progress a little and talk about smaller subjects, but talk about real issues. So, which could revolve around women issues, which could revolve around societal issues. But it's very important to have women who are above 30 play those real life issues up, for screen. I think we all miss that. I think internationally, globally, we all miss that.
So, a thought which comes to my mind here is, how often have you said or have been in a position to say no to a role because it hasn't aligned with the way with the values you believe in, or doesn't project, like especially the character, with the way you envision a woman of that age or that social strata?
Many times, Deepshika. I think a lot, like more than saying yes, I say no. because I feel there's a huge responsibility on us entertainers to become those idols that the youth want to look forward to, make ourselves those heroes, not ourselves, but those characters heroes, where they have certain values, they have certain boundaries, they go by a few rules that make them special. And in order to have our youth or young generation make those idols, you have to write those roles. So I think it's very important that we take that responsibility and not just go and do everything and anything that's coming your way. A lot of times I say no because I feel the young girls that look up to me or look up to these dramas, I will sort of penetrate through their mind and leave a certain thought in their mind or provoke a thought in their mind. So I've said no to roles that are not so responsible as characters. I don't think अच्छे actors हर role नहीं करते, बड़े responsibly go pick and choose करते हैं. And I think that's the right way to do it. Because a lot of people look up to them, so they have to pick and choose very responsibly.
Thank you. It was lovely chatting with you, and that's such a wonderful note to end this conversation on. That the responsibility you have put on the authors.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to see more work from you. Thank you.